Coming up on this edition of the DC Youth Soccer Scene, we take a look at the double life of Washington Freedom midfielder Joanna Lohman, get a soccer tip from Washington Freedom head coach Jim Gabera, and we will show you why a dog's life is not that bad. All that and more coming up next on the DC Youth Soccer Scene. Thanks for tuning in to the DC Youth Soccer Scene. I'm Matt Doolin alongside Washington Freedom midfielder Kelly Hammond.
Thanks, Matt. DC Soccer Scene is the show for you, the fans, the players, the parents. We're here today at the 23rd Annual Thanksgiving Tournament at the Polo Grounds.
For the girls on the Bethesda U12 Thunder, soccer is much more than just a game. It's a way of life.
You're always thinking about it, so like in PE class, you're like playing hard obviously, but if you're doing whatever, you don't want to get hurt, so you have to be kind of careful. And then in my classes, I usually find that I'm like daydreaming and like thinking about it and the plans of stuff that's about to happen.
Recently, they started their indoor season off on the right note, winning a futsal tournament and playing 7 games in one day. So what's their secret?
Well, sometimes we pump each other up and we talk to each other like, this is our game and we made it this far, so we're the ones who should win it.
Knowing each other, it's easier to focus because I know that I'm comfortable around my teammates and I know that we can do well.
To this team, it's not just about what happens on the field, it's about the memories made spending countless hours in vans, cars, and hotel rooms across the country.
I liked going to Jags, which was in New Jersey, because our sister team, the Storm, they got to come with us and it was a lot of fun.
On the road, you really bond a lot with the people on your team. And like when you go out to dinner and stuff, some people may seem quiet, but really they're not. And like you kind of find each other more when we're all together, so bonded and stuff.
And what about their long-term goals? In a perfect world, they see themselves playing together at the soccer powerhouse, University of North Carolina.
That'd be really fun actually because we have fun all together because we have a great group of girls on our team, so it'd be really fun to be together.
Now, Kelly, you obviously spent a lot of your time growing up playing for Bethesda Youth Soccer. What was that experience like?
Playing for Bethesda was some of the best experiences of my life. Playing in the championships, playing in all the tournaments, and just playing in the competitions with my best friends that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Now, you mentioned the tournaments. When you play so many games in such a short period of time, how important is it to stay loose and stretch in between games?
It's extremely important, especially in tournaments like the Bethesda tournament in cold months. You want to stretch and stay loose.
Recently, I was able to actually catch up with Chris Parker from MedStar Sports Health, and here's what he had to say about stretching and other injury prevention tips. Today, we are here with our health and fitness tip of the week. I'm alongside Chris Parker and Shannon Fuchs of NRH MedStar Sports Health, along with Tyler Lucy of the Bethesda U12 soccer team and Lori Lindsay of the Washington Freedom. Now, Chris, today's topic is injury prevention through stretching. Coaches and trainers often talk about stretching and warming up as a crucial part to staying safe during these games. What do you have to say about that? We know that's very important. And how do they maintain their physical health?
90% of injuries that occur in soccer players today occur in the legs. These injuries consist of ACL tears, ankle sprains, and muscle strains to both the quadriceps and hamstrings. Now, a lot of times these ACL injuries are occurring because the athlete is using improper body mechanics when landing or when cutting while running. To land properly when going up for a ball, you want to make sure that your hips are flexed, your knees are flexed, and you're landing on your toes and then rolling to the ball of your foot. So it's a very soft landing. When cutting, you want to make sure your knee is directly over your toes, that your knee is flexed and your hip is flexed, and therefore the muscles are taking the brunt of the force and not the ligaments in the knee, and you can power off. Okay? With ankle sprains, a lot of times these injuries occur because of poor conditioning, or maybe because the athlete has weak ankles. So with a strengthening program to include heel raises and balance exercises, standing on one leg, catching a ball from side to side, these will help strengthen the ankles. And really weak ankles, you may have to tape the ankles, and that's something that usually a physician should be instructing you with. Now, with muscle strains in both the quadriceps and hamstrings, these often occur because of improper conditioning or not warming up properly. Now, to warm up properly, we're going to break it down today into 3 phases. The first phase is going to be a general warm-up where we get the blood circulating and get the muscles warm. The second phase is going to be an active stretching that is more sport specific. And in the third phase, we're going to do some isolated stretching to target the areas that you may have poor flexibility in. So let's start that first phase, okay? What we're going to begin with is a general jog, okay? We're going to jog out about 5-10 yards, okay? Go. Excellent. Now as you're jogging, you're pumping your arms, working on some speed. Now coming back, I want you to skip and really work on pumping those arms when you skip. Go. Now with skipping, you can work on height or you can work on distance. Excellent job. Now, I want you to turn, face this direction. We're going to get into a squat position and we're going to do some side shuffling. Now when side shuffling, go. When side shuffling, what you want to do is make sure your hips are low, Lori. Good job. Good job, Shannon. Your hips are low and they're facing straight forward, okay? Coming back, I want you to stay in that squat position and we're going to do karaoke. Go. Now while doing karaoke, make sure your hips are facing forward as you're crossing your legs. Good job. Now we're going to work on the second phase of this warm-up. We're going to do active stretching. The very first exercise we're going to do is leg kicks. Go. As you're doing leg kicks, what you're trying to do, extend that leg straight out in front of you and stretch your hamstrings and stretch your glutes. Good job. Okay. Now coming back, I want you guys to work on high knees. Go. Now as you're doing your high knees, really get your knees up. Good job, Taylor. Really get those knees up, Lori. Pumping the arms. Good job. Now, I want you guys to work on butt kickers. As you're running, I want you to really try to get those ankles and kick the back of your butt. Good job. Stretch out those quadriceps as you're running those 5 yards. Good job. Coming back, we're going to work on some hips. We're going to do in and outs. Go. As you're doing this exercise, you really want to work on trying to get the full range of motion. Good job, Shannon. Coming into adduction of the hip and coming out into abduction of the hip. Excellent job. Okay. Now we're going to do the final phase of our warm-up, which is isolated stretching. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch our calf muscles. So we're going to put our foot out in front of us and point our toes up and reach down and try to touch those toes. You should feel a stretch back in your calf, maybe even all the way up into your hamstring. When you're stretching a muscle, you want to try to hold it for a good 30 seconds and repeat this stretch 3 times on both sides. Okay? The next stretch we're going to do is for your hip flexor. We're going to come down into a lunge position and your back is going to remain straight as you try to lunge your hips forward, and you should feel that stretch right in the front of your hip flexor. Again, trying to hold this for a count of 30 seconds, and we do this on both sides. Okay? Next stretch, we're going to have you sit on the ground here. We're going to put one leg out in front, flex the other leg. We're going to reach forward, try to touch your toes, and stretch out your hamstrings. Okay, this is a very important muscle, often gets tight, especially if you're sitting in school all day or you happen to be sitting at work. Okay, last stretch we're going to do, we're going to lie on our back, cross one leg over the other, and pull that opposite knee up to the chest, and you should feel a nice stretch right in the butt. Good muscle to stretch out, and often gets tight on soccer players, and they often don't realize it. Okay, guys, if injuries occur, always remember RICE. Rest, ice, compression, and elevation. If you have pain that lasts for more than 2 or 3 days, always consult your physician, okay? And best of luck to you in your performance enhancement in soccer.